Hello and welcome back to Shakesyear. We are working on the second Maiden's tragedy, which does not have a second maiden in it, but is in fact a tragedy, which means there's going to be a lot of monologues in this one, and we are still in Act 1, Scene 1, which is fine because we just started this yesterday. And today we're going to get to hear from Sophonirus, whose name I will probably pronounce wrong a lot because it's an interesting name. But Sophonirus is a nobleman in the tyrant king's system of governance, let's say, because the tyrant king has actually just recently overthrown King Govanius. And we started out Act 1, Scene 1 with like that overthrow has just recently happened. And my guess is within like the last day or something like that. And the tyrant king is gloating about the fact that he has overthrown Govanius, and he turns to like all of his noblemen and he's like, look, you're going to get to reap the rewards of this. And by the way, there was one woman, only one woman ever, who I have loved, and that happens to be the queen, Govanius's queen, daughter of Helvetius. So that's why he overthrew the kingdom, is because he wants to marry the queen. So he tells his guys, one of them being Sophonirus, to go and get her. And as he's leaving, Sophonirus has a little aside wherein he says, I have a wife. Would she were so preferred. I could but be her subject. So I'm now. I allow her one friend, to stop her mouth and to keep her quiet. Give him his table free, and the huge feeding of his great stone horse, with which he rides in pomp about the city, only to speak to gallants in bay windows. Marry, his lodging he pays dearly for. He gets me all my children. There I save by it. Beside, I draw my life out by the bargain, some 12 years longer than the times appointed, when my young prodigal gallant kicks up his heels at 31 and lies dead and rotten some 45 years before I'm coffined. 'Tis the right way to keep a woman honest. One friend is barricado to 100 and keeps them out. Nay, more, a husband sure to have his children all of one man's getting, and he that performs best can have no better. I'm even as happy then that save a labor. So this is a weird little tidbit to like kick off a play with, because it doesn't really have anything to do with what's going on in the scene. He's just telling us about his life and his relationship with his wife, which is not a great one. He starts out saying that he wishes his wife was treated as well as they have been instructed to treat the queen. But he's like, actually, I'm sort of her subject already, because she already has one friend who I feed and gets to live with us and everything. And she's allowed to have this one partner. This guy has fathered all of my children, and that's the arrangement. And he's like, if I let her have just this one lover that keeps everybody else away, and I know who the father of all my children is, because it's just this one guy, but since he's like this gallant that rides around on a fancy horse and everything like that, he's going to be killed by the time he's 31, and I'm going to outlive him by like 45 years. And like, how great is that I get to do that, and I don't actually have to father my own children and everything. So like it saves me some trouble. And then he goes off to get the queen. So not exactly sure yet why this exists here, except to tell us sort of what kind of man he is and what his relationship is with his wife. But it might be important later. So anyway, they go to get the queen, and as they're going off, the king turns to Helvetius and he's like, you can stand up now. You should be very flattered that I want to be with your daughter. And Govanius is like, of all the things to lose, like, I'm going to be locked up away from my wife, who I love more than anything. Like, this is horrible punishment. And the tyrant king is like, yeah, you're not just going to jail, you're banished. And Govanius does sort of the typical Shakespearean reaction to that. He's like, banished? No, couldn't you just kill me? That would be kinder, all of that. So there's a little bit of bemoaning the fact that he's going to be banished, and the Tyrant King being like, yeah, no, you're definitely banished. And then Gavania starts to say farewell to some of the other noblemen who are around, and we will get to hear some of that in tomorrow's monologue. So I will see you then. Mwah.